She just got done speaking about DPR's pesticide prioritization process. Renee, what changes are happening with this process, and how's it going to affect growers?
Well, I'd say the process is now really starting to ramp up. DPR is actively outlining with the committee membership what the goals of the committees will be, who can participate on it. Their goal is to be standing these committees up either this fall or very early next year to start identifying pesticides that potentially should be either listed for reevaluation and thereby potentially additional restrictions or elimination.
Can you give more of an explanation on a timeline for this process? What do growers need to be aware of?
I think realistically what you're looking at is the committee starting to meet at the beginning of 2026, going through a process of discussing types of products where alternatives are available and where alternatives are necessary. So I think that by probably towards the end of next year, you could be looking at recommendations, maybe even by summer, but realistically maybe fall or winter, recommendations to DPR for DPR to start doing evaluations or reevaluations of products that would then impact their availability potentially even by 2027.
One of the things you talked about was the need for growers to get involved in this process. Why should they be getting involved, and how can they go about doing that?
Well, I think two main reasons. One, product availability is going to impact them directly. If groups or individuals are not allowed whom scientifically understand these products, then the farmers need to be able to protect or represent themselves. The second is they know how this impacts them at the ground level. Nobody knows better than a CCA or a farmer as to the importance of a product, the alternatives that are out there, and the impact it will have on them if products are eliminated or restricted and the alternatives are being considered based on a philosophic belief on what they can do as opposed to a field level reality.
And the other part of that question was just how do they go about getting involved? I know you mentioned there's going to be a number of committees, and who can get involved? That was pretty specific as well.
Yeah. A farmer or a PCA, certainly, or even a CCA, certainly, could either be nominated by others or nominate themselves. The restrictions as far as agricultural participation is registrants are not going to be considered because DPR considers them having a conflict of interest. I could not be considered because they believe that I would have a conflict of interest, but any retailer, farmer, or expert like a CCA or a PCA can be nominated.
Is there anything else that growers need to be aware of when we're talking about this issue?
What we really need to be aware of is that while DPR's intent is for this to be a scientific process, there are groups looking at this more from a philosophic agenda or an emotional agenda. We should not relax and think that what products get listed, what products become very visible, is going to be solely based on the science. And that's why it's going to be important for agriculture to be involved in it, because it's hard to push back against emotion. And so therefore, we need to be at the table as well as the environmental justice representatives.
Let the science speak for itself. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Renee. We've really enjoyed your talk today. For My Ag Life, I'm Kristen Platts.